Assassin's Creed Valhalla has plenty of Vikingly things to do, but if you're looking to take a break from raiding, slaughtering, and, well, mission chasing, why not have a sit down and play a relaxed game of Orlog? What could easily be called Valhalla's Gwent, Orlog is a dice rolling game of chance and strategy that I've had a lot of fun playing in my time with the game. The rules are fairly straightforward, but if you're looking for help or just a basic tutorial, probably why you're watching this one. I'll go over the basics of how to play and then get into some brief strategies and tips on how I play. Fair warning, this video was created before the full release, and with such a short amount of time of access, I haven't nailed down everything nor unlocked all of the things, so feel free to post your own strategies or thoughts in the comment section down below. If you've yet to purchase Assassin's Creed Valhalla, click the link in the description to buy it on Epic, where your purchase will directly help support the channel. Now, let's get into how to play Orlog, Valhalla's favorite board game. Starting with the basics, the goal is to take all of your opponent's 15 stones before they take your 15 stones. You each get 6 dice and a choice of up to 3 god favors to choose from, which we'll get into in just a bit. Your dice have a range of symbols and borders on them, and they each have a meaning. First, any dice face with a border on it will give you 1 god favor token should you choose to play it. While you shouldn't always play a dice just for the god favor tokens, these will make or break your game, so they do hold a decent amount of significance. The hand symbol dice face will let you steal a god favor token once all the other dice have played. It's important to think about these, especially if your opponent plays them, as you may want to use a god favor, but cannot because your opponent ends up taking one before the god favors can be used. The next 4 symbols can be split into pairs, as each pair cancels each other out. The axe symbol deals 1 axe damage, which can be blocked when it comes up against a helmet dice. The arrow symbol deals 1 arrow damage, which can be blocked when it comes up against a shield dice. Note that a helmet will not block an arrow die and a shield will not block an axe die. Your god favor allows you a range of effects, but take god favor tokens to use. There are 3 levels for every god favor, each requiring more tokens for an increase in that favor. You do not have to use your god favor every turn, and in many cases, it's a pretty safe gamble to store up tokens for stronger use of a god favor. Obviously, understanding the meaning of each die face is crucial to your success, but the progression of gameplay is equally as important to grasp for you to really get a hold of the game. A coin toss determines who goes first, and a quick tip here. Personally, I prefer to react to my opponent's roll rather than gamble my own dice rolls, so losing the coin toss is never a bad thing for me. Each round consists of 3 dice rolls, called the roll phase. You can keep any number of dice on your first 2 rolls, with any that are not used going towards the next one. On that 3rd roll, whatever lands is played, so it presents the biggest gamble in terms of chance. Once all the dice have been rolled, you can choose to use a god favor during the god favor phase, should you have the required number of tokens. The game will allow you to choose a god favor based on the tokens you'll receive from stealing your opponent's, but will not take into effect the potential of your opponent to steal from you. This means you might have a chance of losing enough tokens where your god favor cannot trigger. Keep this in mind, as you'll need to pay attention to how many thieving hands the other players play during the dice rolls. After you each have a chance to choose a god favor, the game will go into the resolution phase, automatically splitting the dice according to what was rolled, lining up shields across from arrows, helmets across from axes, and the thieving hands across from each other. Any dice that have the god favor borders are highlighted, and the tokens are awarded to their respective players. Then, a process of elimination begins, as each defensive die cancels out their offensive counterpart. Any offensive die left will start taking away the stones of the opponent. Should there be any defensive die left, they are simply discarded. And then the hands come in and steal however many tokens, as there are hands on each side. Now, it's time for the god favors to come into play. In Valhalla, there are several god favors that you can collect by beating other Orlog players. You can only have 3 as mentioned earlier, so knowing how to use these god favors is essential. The god favors have a range of effects, from attacking stones to healing or bringing back your own, canceling out your opponent's dice after they've rolled, even multiplying a die phase to counter more offensive attacks. There are two parts of the resolution phase that a God Favor can kick in. If the God Favor cancels out an opponent's dice, then it will be used during the resolution phase. This is a safer gamble, as these God Favors are used before the hands can take any tokens. The other God Favor takes place at the end of the resolution phase, once all the dice have run their course. As mentioned, these have a higher chance of failure, as you could lose enough to not allow it to trigger. It's a balance of strategy and foresight, but I will say this: God Favors are absolute game changers. One good roll and you can knock out over half of your opponent's stones in one round, so pay attention to the dice. While Orlog is mostly a game of chance based on your dice rolls, it doesn't mean that strategy takes a back seat. Knowing what to play and when are the things that will allow you to succeed in this game. So in this section, I'll give 6 pointers based off my time playing, though I will say that I favor a reactionary playstyle, which in the case of Orlog means a sort of defensive front line with a hard-hitting backline. I've already dropped this first tip earlier, but losing the starting toss is never a bad thing. While there are definitely dice you'll want to keep regardless of who started the roll, seeing what your opponent plays first will let you either know what to defend against or maybe what to push offensively as well. Next, it's always advisable to play dice with God Favor borders. Tokens are essential in this game, and it is well worth the risk of losing a few stones if it means gaining more tokens to use your God Favors. In my opinion, thieving hand dice with God Favors is the best dice roll in the game. It allows you to not only gain a God Favor token at the start of the resolution phase, but it will let you take one from your opponent. Always think of the God Favor thieving hand as a 2-token play, which can rack up quickly for God Favor uses. Tacking on another strategy in relation to God Favors, from the small handful I've seen so far playing, I trend towards favors that either do direct damage post-resolution phase or one that weakens the opponent's front line. I know I have not seen all of the different effects that God Favors can bring in the game, but I rarely used the ones that healed my stones or any that allow me to change one defensive die to defend against 3. It's not that I'm so cavalier with my own stones or don't care, I've just found it's much quicker and effective to take down the opponent as an early game strategy. When it comes to my personal playstyle, I will trend towards picking die with thieving hands with God Favor or God Favor and defensive faces, so shields and helmets. Sticking with defensive faces forces the opponent to either play defensive themselves, in which case neither of us would take frontline damage, or pressures them to risk more offensive faces that they may not have God Favor tokens. This style protects me more often than not from attacks, but it also allows me to quickly gather God Favor tokens, which usually means that I can hit my opponent with something like a tier 3 Thor strike within 2 or 3 rounds, knocking out 8 of their 15 stones. I've played about 30 rounds of Orlog using this playstyle, and I've only lost 1 round, just to give you an idea on its success. The next last tip is one that is sure to throw the AI opponent for a loop. If you see your opponent playing a lot of thieving hands during a round, do not play any God Favor dice. This will render their dice useless, and in my opinion, is much more favorable to cancel out a dice for a round than it is to lose too many God Favor tokens. Should you have the tokens that would get taken, hopefully you have a God Favor that lets you cancel out your opponent's defenses so they'll get used up before they can get taken. The last tip, don't be afraid to shake up your strategy. You'll always get really bad rolls, or the other guy gets a really good streak. When these instances happen, play out of your norm by maybe turtling up a bit to take the hit, or fight fire with fire and go all out offensive to try and take down as many stones. No strategy will be perfectly viable in every situation, and each player has their own way of doing things, so don't get frustrated if you try mine and it doesn't work for you. In fact, post your strategy in the comment section so I can try it out for myself. I'd love to give it a go. That will be all for this tutorial on how to play Valhalla's Orlog. Again, it's pretty straightforward, but sometimes you just need help. If you've enjoyed it or found it informative, be sure to give the video a thumbs up. and comment down below, as it helps this video get seen by the good old YouTube algorithm. If you've yet to buy the game, again, check the link in the description. And purchasing from the Epic Store will directly support the channel, and you'll get my immense thanks for doing so. Lastly, if you're into strategy games in general, this channel is primarily focused on covering them. So be sure to give it a look and subscribe, as there are plenty of strategy games coming out in the near future, of which I'll look to cover as many as I can. Thanks for watching, this is Havoc, and I'll see you all in the next video.